Alright, hello and welcome back. In this video, we will be showing you how to create a graphical user interface for the Contacts application. Previously, we created a Contacts application that runs in the console, and now we want to see how we can create something different that runs as a graphical user interface application. So, right in our command prompt window, we are still in the project folder, which is contacts. And this is the contacts.py file, which is the file for the console contacts application. We will have to create another file for the GUI application. To do that, type null. So we are going to call this contacts underscore GUI.py. It's a Python file. Alright, you can quickly check to see if the new file is there. Of course it is. Now the next thing we want to do is open this file in Visual Studio Code so that we can write our code in it. You can use code contacts underscore GUI.py. Okay. So we will be seeing lots of differences between the code we wrote for the console application and the one we're going to write for the graphical user interface application. To begin with, to create graphical user interfaces in programming, you need what we call GUI libraries. GUI libraries. And the GUI library we will be using in this project is called tkinter, which is the standard GUI library for Python. Of course, there are other libraries that you can use with Python to create graphical user interface. But the standard library that comes naturally with the Python installation is known as tkinter. We will dive in so that you can see how it works. To use tkinter, you have to import it. Import tkinter as tk. Please, as you type, make sure that your spellings are correct. And every other thing you see here is well followed. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my function called contacts underscore GUI. My function has no parameters. All right, so this is my function. Now, the first thing I want to do is create a window. That's the graphical user interface window, the mother window, the parent window, where all our other widgets are going to be launched. To create that window, I will define a variable, and inside I will store the tkinter window class. Now, this is the class. TK is the class used to create a tkinter window. You don't have to worry so much about what that means. And then to make sure that the window shows, I have to call the main loop method. All right, so we're ready to run the code the first time just to see the results we've got. So I have to call the function contacts spelling underscore GUI. Okay, save the file, and now I am ready to run the script to see what result I have got so far. So I'm going to return here and say py contacts underscore GUI.py and run the script. All right, so what we have is a small window. Yes, this is a small window. As you can see, this is a huge difference from the console application that you witnessed in the first video. So this is the beginning of creating graphical user interfaces, creating a parent window where all your other widgets and elements are going to be launched. So what's going to happen now is we are going to begin to put elements inside of this window that we can interact with. Elements that will allow us to type in a person's first name, a person's last name, a person's phone number, and then one button element that's going to allow us to save. I'm going to close this, and then we can return here to add more to the code. All right, what we will be doing now is we will be creating a general interface that we can use for all the others. But before we do that, there are other things we can do to our window to also make it provide information that the users can work with. For example, our window needs to have a title, and then our window can have a size as well. So to set the title, it's going to be win.title. It's a string, so make sure you use quotes. Win.title contact saver. That's the title. I'm also going to set the width and the height. It's going to be win.geometry. String as well. Let's say we have 340. Let's say we have 120. And then we decide where it's going to be placed on the screen. We decide horizontally first, let's say 200, and then vertically, let's say 150. All right, let's view the changes that we've made. We are going to see the title, and we're also going to see that the size of the window is going to match what we've done here. So I will run the script again. And good. So this is what we have. It now has a title called Contact Saver. Contact Saver. And this is the width. Just for you to understand better how the width works, I'm going to increase the width here, change the value to 440, so you can see that it's going to look wider. Exactly. All right. Now, having done that, the next thing we need to do is create a general interface where all our widgets will be placed. We just create a general interface where our widgets will be placed. And we will be using tkinter classes to do this. You don't have to worry too much what this means. We will use tkinter classes to do this. So we define a variable called interface. And inside of it, we use a tk. I'm going to use a tk label for this. Of course, there are others who would love to use frame, TK frame, and other things. Okay, perhaps I should use a frame. So frame, I'm going to specify the parent of this frame, which is win. So what I'm saying is this widget is going to be placed inside of the window that we created. This is going to be placed inside of the window we've created. It's a container, and there's no way we can really see that container. But of course, it's a container where we will place all our other widgets. Okay, after creating your widget, there is what we call pack. You need to pack the widget so that it can be seen. So interface, it's going to be interface.pack. Pack it, give it a side value of top, and then we make it fill the window both horizontally and vertically, and then we allow it to expand so that as the window is resized, it's also going to get resized with the window. Expand is yes. All right, so fill both, expand, yes. Let's see if we can do this. BG black. Okay, let's run the script again to see what changes have been made. All right, good. Begin to add the other elements. We've been able to provide a background color for the interface. Now what remains is we can begin to place elements in the interface. And one of the things we're going to see is how we can signify to the user where he or she is supposed to type a particular kind of information. We will be using label widgets and entry widgets. The label widgets are going to tell the user where to type what. And definitely it's going to be inside of the entry widgets. Both of them are going to be side by side. So first, I'm going to create another container for the first name. I'm going to create a container for the first name. So it's going to be called first underscore name underscore field. All right, first underscore name underscore field. It's going to be a label widget. Okay, sorry. Okay, let's make it a frame widget. It's going to be a frame widget and it's going to be housed inside of the interface. Then we also will set the background color to black. We want everything to be black and the text is going to be red. And now we are going to pack this widget. You have to pack a widget to be able to see it. Pack. All right, how are we going to pack this widget? We're going to signify it should be placed at the top and it should be able to expand. And then it should be able to fill horizontally, so it's going to be fill X and then pad Y equals 5. All right, good. Okay, all right, now the next thing we want to do is create elements that are going to live inside of the first underscore name underscore field container. The first name label is going to be there and the first name entry element is also going to be there. So we'll have first underscore name underscore label. Of course, we will use a tkinter label widget. It's going to be placed in first underscore name underscore field. Make sure you watch the spellings and you don't get it wrong. Then we provide a text value of this, which is going to be first name. And then we will add other kinds of styling to make sure it looks the way we want it to look. Its background is going to be black, its foreground is going to be white. So we add this BG for background black, and then FG for foreground is going to be white. And what else are we going to add? Okay, we will also determine the font size. All right, so font is going to be a tuple string font. We will use Helvetica and then say 13. All right, we need to pack this first underscore name underscore label pack. So how is this going to be packed? It's going to be packed with the side left pad X 20. So side is left X is 20. Okay, I will save and then we will run the script to see what the result is going to look like. All right, good. So this is what we have so far. We have a first name label. And then what next? We have to create an entry element just in front of it where we can type the first name. Okay, so we've been able to add a label for the first name. And what we're going to do now is add an entry for the first name as well. An entry for the first name, it's going to be called first, not first, first underscore name underscore entry. We will be using a tkinter widget known as entry, tk.entry. It's going to be placed in the first underscore name underscore field. All right, I think the only thing we need to set here, the only style we need to provide for this is the font size for now. So we simply say font equals string, also Helvetica. You can decide to change the font if you like. So we're going to have 15. Yes, let's have 15. Okay, then we need to park this as well. And as we park, it's going to be parked as side left field X. Expand, yes. So first underscore name underscore entry. Park side is left Field is X, expand is yes. Field X, expand is yes. Okay, we will save this again and run the script to see the result of our current progress. So this is what we have. So now we have a first name label and then we have a first name entry. So this label tells us that what we need to type in here is the first name. So the remaining piece of code is going to come very simple because we are just going to repeat what we have done here. We're going to create another field container for last name and then create a label for last name and an entry for last name. Then create a field container for phone, a label for phone, and an entry for phone as well. All right, so I'm going to do something here that's going to look, I'm going to copy this because we will be using the same structure. I'm going to paste here, and then I will return here to change the names. All right, so this is going to change to last name, and yes. Please be very careful as you make these changes. All right, this also has to be changed to last name. To save us time. Okay, and then since this is the last name field for the label, this also is going to change to last name. Okay, let's see if we have something to work with. We run the script again. All right, good. So we have two different fields. We have a first name field and then we have a last name field. So we also need to add the phone field and then we can go ahead to complete this. All right, now we are going to repeat the same process for the phone. Yes, okay. I'm going to copy this structure. Please, let's not be confused. I'm going to copy the structure. The first structure we have here is first name field. We have a field for the first name. And inside of the field for the first name, we placed the first name label and we placed the first name entry. And then we have a field for the last name. And inside of this field for the last name, we placed the last name label and the last name entry. So we're going to do the same for phone. That means I'm going to copy the structure, copy, and then I'm going to paste here and make sure that I change the necessary things. This is for phone, so it's going to be phone field. It's going to be phone field. All right, phone underscore field, phone underscore field, and that's what we're also going to have here. Phone underscore field. So this is going to be phone underscore label. Please pay attention to these changes. This is going to be phone underscore entry. All right, this is also going to be phone underscore field. Okay, we also need to change this from last name to phone. So it's going to be phone. Okay, good. I think we are making good progress. And then we can return to the console here to run the Python script again to see what we have. Good. So this is what we have so far. We have three different fields. First name. The first name field has a first name label and it has an entry. The last name field has a last name label. It has an entry also. The phone field has a label called phone and also has an entry. Now, the last thing we want to add is a button that's going to allow us to save any entries we make. So for the button, as we have created containers for these different fields, we're going to create a container called action field, action underscore field. And then this container, like the others, is going to be a frame. It's going to be a TK frame. So we say TK dot frame. It's going to be placed in the interface. As you can see in all of the containers that we have created, we have specified that they should be placed directly in the interface that we created in line 7. We created an interface, we created a container, a general container in line 7, and we have asked all these fields to be placed directly inside of the container. That is why we have interface here. So this is the field, and what we're going to do next is set the background to black, and then we're going to pack it. So bg black. Then we will pack action underscore field, the pack. So how are we packing action underscore field? We're going to pack in such a way that the side is going to specify top, expand as yes, so side top, expand yes. And then other options like fill and pod y. Okay, so fill is going to be x, pod y is going to be 5. All right, so we have this. What we now have to do is create a button that's going to be lodged inside this field, the button that's going to help us to save. That button is going to be called, it's going to be called save. It's going to be called save underscore button. So we will be using a tkinter button here. Wrong spelling. Let's be very careful. It's going to be lodged inside of the action underscore field. And then we'll set the text to save content. All right, we will be taking a pause here to see the, okay, before we do that, let's me pack the button. So it's going to be save underscore button, the pack side. I'm going to pack the save button and give it the value of left for its side. Okay, let's see how that's going to work. We are not done styling the button, so we're just going to add a few other styling. We will style the background as black, and then the foreground is white. So we have BG for background. It's going to be black. And the foreground is going to be white. So there are other things we are going to add. Just so you see how it looks, let's run the script and see what we have. Okay, good. The button is not visible. The button is not visible. So let's see what's going on here. Let's make the height 160. Okay, good. So we have increased the height, and this is what we have. All right, so the button is there. So what we have to do is set the pod x, value. X. Okay, let's see. Fill and then X, expand, and have yes. Okay, we'll see how it's going to look like now. All right, so this is how it's going to look like if we add those. But I think I'm going to remove the expand option. See what change that is going to bring to the application look. Okay, good. So it's placed to the left. All right, so basically, this looks like a very simple interface that you can use to save a person's contact. You can type the person's first name here, type the last name here, and then type the person's phone number, and then you can click on save. So we call these elements that you can see widgets. So we have a widget here that takes the first name option. This widget we have used here is known as the label widget. We have used the label widget for first name, last name, and phone. We have used the entry widget for these where we can type data in. So the entry widgets in tkinter allow the user to provide data that the application will work with. And then we have a button here, a save button. So this is just a basic graphical user interface. Application is different from the console application. We haven't written any functions to help us save whatever we type. We will be doing that in another video. So work on this code, see how it plays out, see what other things you could add, see how you could, you know, experiment and then learn new things.